الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله أكبر ولله الحمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وإمام المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تتبع الهوى فيضلك عن سبيل الله صدق الله مولانا العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد عبدك ورسولك وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a very blessed, gracious and illuminated day. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. That when we complete the iddat of Ramadan, fasting after month of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ. Glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and mention His greatness by saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Lima hadakum, because it is only by the hidayah, by the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gave us a tawfiq to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Ramadan. It is only through the hidayah and the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enabled all of us to fast in the month of Ramadan. Not because we ourselves had the ability, rather the tawfiq, the ability was given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We gave zakah only because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the ability to give out zakah. We recited the Quran only because of the tawfiq and by the ability given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every single night we used to pray Taraweeh, listen to the Quran only because of the tawfiq and ability of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala anhu in Mukashif al-Qulub, he mentions that when it is a day of Eid, then Iblis, Shaitan, who is freed, he cries. Other shayateen, they surround him and say to him, "O our master, Iblis, why are you crying today?" So Iblis says, today is a day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven the major and the minor sins of the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is for this reason I'm crying, because they have been forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Shaitan, Iblis, Rajim, La'im says to his companions, says to other shayateen, now is the day and the moment you need to go to them, to the Muslims, and misguide them through their temptations, misguide them through their desires, misguide them through their lusts, so that they turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Yesterday we mentioned in Jum'ah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a month of Ramadan in order to train ourselves, to train our ego, to train our nafs, so that we are prepared for the 11 months to fight against the temptations, to fight against the evil whisperings from the devil, so that we go against our lusts, we suppress our desires and gain the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now in a hadith of Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, I have with me Sunan Abu Dawood. In the midst of my teaching, I came to this very heart-provoking and very enlightening hadith of Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Imam Abu Dawood rahimahullah, he mentioned and listened to this hadith of Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, because end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give us Jannah. He wants to protect us from Jahannam. But here we come to the hadith of Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, Imam Abu Dawood in his Sunan, hadith number 4744. Narrated by Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, anna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam qala. The narrator Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has said, لَمَّا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ الْجَنَّةِ, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created Jannah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala beautified Jannah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared the gifts, the in'am for the dwellers of Jannah, فَقَالَ لِجِبْرِيلِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called Jibreel alayhi salam and said to Jibreel alayhi salam, اذهب فانظر إليها. O Jibreel alayhi salam, I have prepared Jannah, I have created Jannah, I have beautified Jannah for Ahlul Jannah. O Jibreel, now is the time for you to go and have a look. Look what I have prepared for the believers. فَذَهَبَ فَنَظَرَ إِلَيْهَا. So Jibreel alayhi salam went and he looked into Jannah. He looked at the beauty of Jannah. ثُمَّ جَاءَ Jibreel alayhi salam, he came out of Jannah. فَقَالَ, said, أَيْ رَبِّي وَعِزَّتِكَ. He said, oh my Lord, by your glory, لا يسمع بها أحد إلا دخلها. No one will hear about Jannah except that person will enter Jannah. No one will listen to the rewards and the in'am and the bounties and the grace that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for Ahlul Jannah except the person will no doubt enter Jannah. Then what happened? ثُمَّ حَفَّهَا بِالْمَكَارِهِ. After Allah created Jannah, He surrounded Jannah with makari, things that we detest, things that we dislike, things our ego doesn't like. He surrounded Jannah with things that we do not like, and then said to Jibreel alayhi salam to go, idhab wandur ilayha. O Jibreel, now go to Jannah and have a look at the beauty of Jannah. فَذَهَبَ, he went. Now this time, the second time, the beauty of Jannah was in front of him, but he saw that Jannah, the path to Jannah is very difficult. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it difficult for humans to enter Jannah with makari, things that our nut detests, things that we do not like to do, things that we do not want to carry out. For example, we do not want to give out zakah because we love dunya, we love wealth. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed that in front of Jannah. We do not like to wake up for Salatul Fajr, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed that outside Jannah. We do not want to fast the month of Ramadan, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed that outside Jannah, because these are the means by which we can enter Jannah. Jibreel alayhi salam went, فَذَهَبَ فَنَظَرَ إِلَيْهَا. Jibreel alayhi salam went to Jannah. He saw how the things that we detest, things that we dislike is surrounding Jannah. He said, أَيْ رَبِّي وَعِزَّتِكَ لَقَدْ خَشِيتُ أَلَّا يَدْخُلُهَا أَحَدٌ. Looking at the makari, the things that are surrounding Jannah, Jibreel alayhi salam came to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and said, oh Allah, by your glory, I fear no one will be able to enter Jannah. Because Jannah is not easy to achieve. And then the hadith carries on, he says, فَلَمَّا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى النَّارِ, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the hellfire, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Jahannam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the punishment for the dwellers of Jahannam, He said to Jibreel, قَالَ يَا جِبْرِيلِ اذْهَبْ فَانْظُرْ إِلَيْهَا. O Jibreel alayhi salam, go to Jahannam and have a look inside Jahannam. What punishment has been prepared for those who will enter Jahannam. فَذَهَبَ. So Jibreel alayhi salam went. فَنَظَرَ إِلَيْهَا. He went into Jahannam. He looked at the tabaqat of Jahannam, the levels of Jahannam, the punishment that have been prepared for Ahlul Jahannam. So he came out. ثُمَّ جَعَلَ فَقَالَ أَيْ رَبِّي وَعِزَّتِكَ. He came out. He went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and said, by your glory, لا يسمع بها أحد فيدخلها. No one who hears about Jahannam will enter Jahannam because of fear of Jahannam, because of the fear of the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of the fear of the anger and the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one with the same mind will listen to you about Jahannam and he will enter Jahannam, meaning he will try and protect himself and his family. He will try his best to protect himself and his family and his spouses and his children from Jahannam because of the punishment. Then what happened? فَحَفَّهَا بِالشَّهَوَاتِ. Then later Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surrounded Jahannam with temptations, with lusts, with desires, with evil, the things that will take us away from deen, things that will take away from Sirat al-Mustaqim, things that take away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, things that will be an obstacle between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shahawat, فَحَفَّهَا بِشَهَوَاتِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surrounded Jahannam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surrounded hellfire with shahawat. Because it is a test. It is a test. This dunya is a test. That do you follow the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or do you fall into the depths of your desires and your temptations and your lusts, by which you end up in Jahannam. So Jibreel alayhi salam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he surrounded the hellfire with shahawat, with desires, with temptations, with lusts, he said to Jibreel alayhi salam, اذهب فانظر إليها. O Jibreel alayhi salam, now go to Jahannam, now go to hellfire, now go to the fire, now go to the place of my punishment and have a look. When Jibreel alayhi salam, the second time, when Jibreel alayhi salam went to the hellfire, and when he saw the house in the outskirts of Jahannam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surrounded Jahannam with shahawat. The lusts of looking at haram, the lust of eating haram, the lust of listening to haram, the lust of doing haram. All these things are surrounding Jahannam. Jibreel alayhi salam went inside Jahannam. He came out going through all the shahawat and went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and said, Ay Rabbi wa izzatik. O my Lord, by your glory, wa jalali, by your majesty, لَقَدْ خَشِيتُ أَلَّا يَبْقَى أَحَدٌ إِلَّا دَخَلَهَا. Looking at the creation of Bani Adam, of human beings, that they have nafs. Jibreel alayhi salam, he knew the creation of Bani Adam, of the children, the progeny, and the descendants of Adam alayhi salam, that the humans will be full of lusts, full of desires, temptations. Jibreel alayhi salam came to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and said, Ya Allah, I fear no one will be protected from Jahannam. No one will be protected from Jahannam. What is the reason? It's because Bani Adam, we have something which is within us, which is known as our nafs. And we mentioned this in Ramadan. There are two types of enemies. The outer enemy is the shaitan, is the Satan, is the devil.
And it is very easy to protect ourselves from shayateen. You read A'udhu Billah 3 times and the shayateen will flee away from you. You give adhan and the shayateen run away 1 mile away from the area. Protection from shaitan is very easy. But at the same time we have the second enemy. Fi jambayk, between our 2 shoulders, which is within us. This is our nafs, which is our ego. It is the tool of shaitan. Shaitan uses our ego. Shaitan uses our nafs. Shaitan uses this as a tool to misguide Bani Adam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam, O Dawood alayhi salam, a verse of the Quran which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to Adam alayhi salam, وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَىٰ. Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam is a prophet of Allah. They are the ones whose egos have been refined. They're protected from the temptations of the devil, from the wasawis, from the whispering of the devil. And yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam is informing me and you, وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَىٰ. Do not follow your desires. Do not follow your lusts. Do not follow your temptations. Do not follow your ego. Do not follow your hawa. Do not follow your nafs. فَيُضِلَّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Because your nafs which is within us, because our ego, this will misguide us. This will turn us away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The month of Ramadan, 30 days, abstaining from food and drink and other halal, permissible desires, spending entire night or part of the night standing extra 20 rakat tarawih, spending our days looking at the suhuf, the pages of the Quran, engaging in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The 30 days Allah gave us to train ourselves not to listen to our nafs, to go against our nafs, not to fall into the pitfall of shaitan, but listening to our nafs and ego. Yes, there are certain things which are halal. إِنَّ الْحَلَالَ بَيِّنٌ وَالْحَرَامُ بَيِّنٌ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا مُشْتَبَهَاتٌ لَا يَعْلَمُهُنَّ كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ. Halal is apparent, haram is apparent. Yes, we are allowed to eat halal. Yes, we are allowed to look at halal. Yes, we are allowed to listen to halal. Yes, we are allowed to consume halal. Yes, we are allowed to drink halal. But remember that sometimes the shaitan uses these things in order to grab hold onto your nafs. And that is why Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he has mentioned a hadith of Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Sayyidina Abdullah bin Amr radiallahu ta'ala anhu has mentioned a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواء تبعا لما جئت به. None of you, the hadith of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, none of you can become a complete believer. Your iman is not complete. Your faith is not complete. You cannot attain the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot understand the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala حتى يكون هواه تبعا لما جئت به, unless his desires, unless his lusts, unless his temptations is in accordance, is in agreement to the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala says, few minutes left. This is now ultimate test begins today. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala locked the shayateen. We had no excuse to blame the shaitan. The month of Ramadan, I was unable to carry out the good deeds because of shaitan, because shaitan was not there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made fasts fard upon us because by abstaining from food, hunger suppresses our desires. Hunger kills our temptations. Hunger suppresses our lusts. So 30 days, very easily, and we've seen it, we can witness this. The wise in month of Ramadan, very easily, we were attracted to masajid. The wise in month of Ramadan, very easily, we were able to open the Quran. Wise in month of Ramadan, very easily, we become very generous. We want to give something every night in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is because that we used to go against our nafs for 30 days. But then if you were to carry out this throughout the year, there is a hadith, Imam Ghazali again mentioned Ihya, whosoever goes against his desires. Yes, you want to eat something, your nafs says, for example today, it is halal, I'm not saying it is haram, okay? But in order to make your nafs strong, to make your heart strong, so that your nafs becomes maghlub, not ghalib. Ghalib, maghlub, meaning you do not become servant of your nafs. Rather, make your nafs, your ego, servant of you and your mind. Don't give in, don't give up very easily. And in order to have this ability, this strength to go against your nafs, sometimes small things, do it every single day. For example, in the morning, you have a desire that today I'm going to have a glass of orange juice. Example, your nafs woke up, you had a desire to drink something. You go again, even though it is halal, if you drink orange juice, there is no harm. Okay? But it's a training. Do something every day to go against your nafs. So say to your nafs, today I will not drink orange juice. Do this first day. Now the second day, you have the desire to eat something. Say to your nafs, today I'm not going to eat that food or whatever, the item of food. Third day, fourth day, do this, and inshallah, doing this every single day, one thing at a time, every single day, within you, you're going to find this ability that when dunya will come towards you, call you towards haram, Allah will give you ability to turn away from haram. It's because you have trained your nafs. I'm going to finish off with one narration in Bayhaqi. At the time of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, I'm going to go over a couple of minutes, please forgive me. At the time of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, there was a young man, men youth today. Now listen to this. At the time of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, there was a young man who frequently would visit Masjid al-Nabawi to pray his prayers. A young man, not married, but full of desires, temptations, lusts. Yet he had the true fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He would go to the masjid and then come back to his house. He had one parent, one old father. He used to look after his father. Again, would attend the masjid, come back. Would attend the masjid, come back. On the way, there used to be a young lady in Madinatul Munawwara. At the time of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, this in Bayhaqi. This young lady called this young man, come to me, inviting him towards evil, towards haram. This person initially rejected her invitation. That you're calling me towards haram, how can I do this? But one day, one night after Salatul Isha, he gave into his temptation, so his nafs. He was about to enter the house of that lady when he remembered one of the verse of the Quran which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran about those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِّنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. Those who have taqwa, when shaitan whispers in their hearts about evil, تَذَكَّرُوا, they remember Allah. They remember this is haram. فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ, and then they start seeing things clearly. They know this is haram and this is halal. He remembered this verse. In that very state he fell unconscious. Now the young lady, he feared that, a young man in front of my house, middle of night, fell unconscious. She moved the body in the middle of the street. She closed the door. Meanwhile, while the father's waiting, where's my son? Mera ladka kahan hai? Where is he? So he went with his few of his neighbors, went to look in search, went to Masjid Nabi, who didn't find him. On the way to return, found his own son lying in the streets of Madinah to Munawwara. They took him to his house, sprinkled some water, he woke up. And then the father said, what happened to you? Are you not feeling well? He said, I'm feeling okay, but what happened? Again, he abstained from ghibah. He did not mention the name of that lady. Yes, it was mentioned later on. But then he said that this lady, this particular lady, he didn't mention the name, tried to lure me, tried to call me, invite me towards haram. And then the fear of Allah, how can I stand in front of Allah Yawm al-Qiyamah and give answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This thought filled my heart, I felt unconscious. When the son was narrating this to his father, he fell unconscious the second time. At the second time, he passed away from this dunya. He passed away from the dunya, middle of the night. At the time, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, immediately the father and the family members, the neighbors, they bathed the body, they shrouded the body, prayed Salatul Janazah, buried this young man in Jannatul Baqir. The next morning after Salatul Fajr, the father went to Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu and said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, make dua for my son. This is what happened to him last night. Umar radiallahu ta'ala, Khalifa, Amir al-Mu'mineen of his time said, you should have informed me, you should have knocked on my house. It would have been an honor to pray Salatul Janazah of this young man who passed away in the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But take me to his grave. They took him to Jannatul Baqi. They stood in front of the grave of the young man. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu began to cry, thinking how great this man is. He passed away by the khawf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that point, Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, وَلْمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ. Those who fear, those who tremble, those who are scared of standing in front of Allah Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them not one but two gardens from Jannah. When Umar radiallahu ta'ala, when he said, وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ, a voice was heard from the grave, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me two gardens from Jannah. This is what happens when the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fills your heart. You go, yes, we are not ma'soom. There will be time during the year when you will fall into the pits of shaitan. You listen to the shaitan, you may commit sin, but remember that you need to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tawbah. Repair to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, our youth, our sisters especially, throughout the 11 months of the year. And may very soon we see the hilal of Ramadan in Madinatul Munawwara. May we see the days and nights of Ramadan in Makkatul Mukarramah. May we see the days and nights and the blessings of Ramadan in Masjid al-Aqsa al-Sharif. May Allah subhanahu give a tawfiq inshallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. सबसे पहले तमाम हज़रात खड़े हो जाए, सफ़े मुकम्मल फरमाएं।